These steps will help you smoothly transition from trading your time for money to leveraging it via profitable online courses. This is also how I personally took my business from 6 to 7 figures while reducing my workload. But even if it feels super appealing to think about freeing up your time, you might be wondering if you're ready to move into courses. For me, I knew I was almost ready when I started noticing the same questions coming up repeatedly from clients. Your audience will help you know what to create, and this next question will help you know when to do it. After I built my business up to 10 one-on-one clients at a time, I knew I couldn't handle anymore. But it's not so much about the exact number of clients, because that's different for everyone. The more important question is, can you handle more client work without overwhelm? Because if you feel like you're maxed out on client deliverables, you are ready to add a time-leveraged product to your offerings, even if you don't feel ready. Spoiler alert, no one does. But you also don't have to jump straight from one-on-one services into courses. For example, one of my clients wanted to grow, but didn't feel ready to make that jump. Instead, we found a middle ground so he could still take on more clients and work less, by pulling out the information that he was repeating to every client and packaging just that piece. After that, all he had to do was host weekly group calls and provide feedback. Plus, for him and for most service providers, it was actually a better next step than moving straight into a full-blown course. And we'll talk about whether or not that's true for you too later in this video. But the point is, growing past trading your time for money does not need to be complicated. You can start by packaging your information into videos and worksheets. And doing that does not need to be time-consuming either. When I first started, I just recorded audios on my phone. So don't waste time on things that could hold you back and that don't matter that much. The value of your product isn't in how fancy your material is. It's in the way your information is structured, plus the live feedback, accountability, and support you're providing, which again, can be super simple. I hope you're noticing a theme. In the beginning, I just used a private Facebook group. But in case this feels a little confusing, let me clarify. What we just described is not the same thing as an online course. A course is a product that's completely independent of you. But what we're talking about, a group program, is a hybrid between a course and one-on-one services. Not only is it easier to transition into, but it also does something incredibly important that could ultimately make or break your course's success. Because once you transition into a full-blown course that doesn't include you, the value of your product now lies primarily in how well your information is packaged. But most course creators stumble here because learning to create a good course is a completely different skill set than delivering and even knowing the information you're providing. That's another reason why group programs are actually a better option for most people to start with. This way, you also develop your teaching skills as you grow your business. This is key to making sure you don't get stuck. For example, when I was in middle school, I had the worst stage fright. Even more unfortunately, my stage fright translated into hysterical laughter, which I could not stop as soon as I stepped on that stage. But my teachers thought I was pranking them.
People will think you're up to something.
I didn't want to fail my classes, so I had to figure out how to learn this skill of overcoming stage fright. I started by reading books, but nothing worked. Eventually, I realized the only way for me to truly get over my stage fright was to do it. So I practiced my butt off. And the more I practiced, the better I got. That's how you level up in your business too. Do the thing you want to get better at, then learn from the results. Plus, I think you'll appreciate another benefit of doing it this way too. When you start with a hybrid offer like this, you're building in kind of a mitigator. Even though your teaching skills won't be that awesome yet, your clients will still be getting an amazing value because you are there to fill in any gaps in the information. But how do you know when you're ready to make the jump from group programs into full-fledged courses? Honestly, there's no magic timeline. Some people are ready fairly quickly after just a few group sessions, while others find that they love group programs. So this part is up to you. But the important thing is that you get to decide. But as you're planning your move, there's a very important warning I hope you keep in mind. Because while scaling a course business is absolutely doable, it's tough. Now, instead of selling just a few higher price service packages, you need to make a lot more sales. That means dedicating time and resources to growing your audience to make those sales. But until you get there, you might see a dip in revenue. That's why I recommend continuing to offer your one-on-one services during this time. Even if it feels tempting to say, forget it, I'm going all in and I'm getting my time back. This way, you won't have to worry about your finances, which does wonders for your peace of mind and your ability to grow as you branch out into this new part of your business. Plus, it also gives you another significant advantage that most people overlook. That's why, even though the majority of my seven-figure business revenue comes from courses these days, I still work with a small handful of one-on-one clients. The reason is, if you keep yourself completely siloed from your audience, you're gonna lose touch with the problems that your people are facing. Without that, your business will go downhill. Not to mention, you might also miss out on some super profitable new product ideas. For example, because I stay connected through one-on-one work, I saw a trend I probably would have missed otherwise. A lot of my private clients were hiring me specifically for help building automated systems to sell their products. That gave me an idea for a new course I otherwise wouldn't have had. My Sell More with Webinars product, which simply systemized the process I was already teaching my clients. By maintaining intimacy with some people in your audience, because obviously you can't do it with everyone, that's how you continue to stay in tune with the human aspect of your business. Not only does this keep your skills sharp, but I personally also think it's one of the most fulfilling things you can do in the world. High five to that. But it's also not just about you when you decide to make that leap into products. There's also an unexpected gap that you'll need to bridge. Because when you first start rolling out courses, you're now basically running two different businesses, from the way you sell to the way you deliver. On the flip side, your audience will also be learning to navigate those two different relationships with you. The intimate one with you as a one-on-one service provider, and the other one as a course creator. Because those two relationships are so different, you can't just expect your audience to instantly adjust. I learned that the hard way when, in our first ever course promotion, we only made about $2,000 in sales. This was very confusing because my previous group program launches had done close to 7 figures in sales. No one warns you about this, but that's how I realized that people need to get used to seeing you and buying from you in different contexts. It's kind of like your relationship with your parents. First and foremost, my mom and dad are the people who raised me, told me what to do, and made sure I was clothed and fed. But as time went on and I matured, I started seeing our relationship differently. Instead of omnipotent authority figures, I started seeing them as friends I could talk to. Now, I understand everyone's relationships with their parents will differ, but this is a good example of how relationships change over time. When you're shifting your business to a different model, you're doing the same thing. But because your audience might not realize it right away, it's your job to teach your audience what this new relationship looks like. But again, keeping it simple. It does not need to be any more complicated than making your audience aware of what you're doing and what the difference is. That being said, be patient. Like any good relationship, it can take a bit of time, especially if you've never sold an online course before. But I know it can feel super scary. That's why in this next video, I share 5 questions to help you avoid a lot of the fear and overwhelm that can come with creating and selling your first course. With these 5 questions, you also have a clear focus for freeing your time and increasing your income.